Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to the channel. My name is Sal, and today we're going to be covering the Valentine's Day, February 14th slate in the NBA. We got a little bit of a three-game DFS slate today. I want to break it down for you guys. I'll show you where my head's at early on in the day. If this is your first time here, welcome. My name is Sal, like I said, and I cover daily fantasy sports for basically the NFL and NBA, and then it will be the MLB and maybe some niche sports here and there. What I like to do is give you as much value as possible. I want to give you the information that you need, reduce your research time, give you some data, and eventually give you way more data for completely free, just for your attention. That'll help me build an audience. That'll help you build your DFS bankroll. So I appreciate you guys that are returning and our subscribers. Please, 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 everybody here, if you could hit that like button, it helps me out a ton, shoots me up the search rankings. And if at any point during this video, if you have not subscribed yet and you're getting value, I want to irk you and just give you a little bit of a push to subscribe. What we're reviewing right now is from my Twitch stream over on Twitch. And we're live right now. We got about 25 people in the chat, 30 people in the chat. And we just answer questions before and after. I review my lineups from the night before. So if you guys want to see what I did the night before in terms of cash, you can come over on the stream. I do that just on the stream because it'll take too much time for YouTube. So if you're here right now, please go down below. If you're not already following me on Twitch, there'll be a link. You can just go there and hit the little heart button to follow. Completely free. It'll just notify you of when I go live. Be more interactive. We're going to be doing a live stream tonight at 6 before lock to answer any questions you guys have. A lot of people have been reaching out about that. So, before we get into this, a couple things that I do want to cover today. The first thing that I do want to cover is what we have here is, again, Thrive Fantasy. So that was actually my lineup, and I'll quickly talk about it if you guys weren't here. This is the lineup last night. Big fiasco with Draftkings going down. That impacted me. Wasn't able to switch out my lineup and get up to Jokic, which would have turned into profits. This lineup, though, I think was still fine. We had some blowout run here that hurt me. We had Jamal Murray not getting there, Larry Nance fouling out. 291.5 wasn't enough to get me into a profit, but you can check out the Twitch streams to see me go more in depth about that. Thrive Fantasy tonight, they continue to host us because we continue to bring them some people. So $5 tonight, NBA tournament, all the way at the bottom of Thrive. There'll be a link in the description below. I'll be throwing a link into the Twitch stream as well, pretty much right now. So what you can do there, Thrive Fantasy is a player prop game. You just pick a player's prop. Do you think they'll go over or under a certain amount of rebounds, points, and then you compete against other people, and whoever has the most right answers and the most points at the end of the night, you're going to end up winning whatever prize pool, right? So it is like a daily fantasy site. I'm throwing that into the Twitch stream as we speak. You can follow that link, and it's all the way at the bottom. It's $5 entry tonight. I appreciate if you guys can hop in there and have some fun with me. It'll be a great time. So let's jump into this slate now that the housekeeping's out of the way. And we got a small three-game slate, so not a ton of news, right? Not a ton of news, but a lot of, I would say it's a difficult three-game slate in terms of just the amount of plays that are on the table, in terms of the way that pricing is set up. And we'll get to the big one, Anthony Davis. So Jeremy Grant is out again, and so is Dennis Schroeder. These are guys, as you can see right here, based on their usage, based on their minutes specifically, are playing a ton of minutes per game, so that's going to be split up a lot. What we saw in the previous game with these guys out was Paul George and Russell Westbrook just going triple-double each, right? Basically, the wealth wasn't spread anywhere else besides Deontay. Honestly, don't even know the man's last name. Deontay Burton got to see some extended run, 26 minutes. They dusted off Raymond Felton, who got 21 minutes. But outside of that, it was those guys going triple-double. Steven Adams had one rebound. That's how they got to their triple-doubles. Something I don't expect to keep up. But I would say it affects the big three, Adams, Westbrook, and George the most. I'm not sure if we'll continue to see this Burton run in place of Dennis Schroeder. We'll have to see. Payton's questionable. Probably the only real news on the slate that you have to keep an eye out for as of now. Payton being questionable would affect Drew Holiday moving from the point. Drew Holiday at the point is a much better Drew Holiday than at the shooting guard position, just due to handling the rock and double-double upside with assists, just way more usage. Tony Parker is doubtful today, and also with Charlotte, which this should be filtered by team. I added Bismack late. Also with Charlotte, Bismack's out, which helps Cody Zeller. Does have a tough matchup today, though. We'll get into that. And that's pretty much it. You have Kevin Huerter, who is only $4,900, still remains cheap. He's probable today. We'll get into him and the rest of these Hawks and Knicks in this matchup. Only team on a back-to-back is the Knicks today. Again, back-to-backs yesterday worried me a little bit with Al Horford. He has interesting back-to-back numbers, and they said they were going to limit his minutes, so I was way off of him right after that, even with his hot start. Scared me. So again, not a lot of news. Just keep an eye out for Elfrid Payton. Keep an eye out, again, as always, with any late possible news or scratches. But that's it for news. We had a request to add usage in average minutes per game. A lot of people like that. So I appreciate it for sure. All right, we just had a message from Thrive Fantasy that said, all fixed with the headshot. So Thrive Fantasy was just having an issue with the pictures of players popping up. They just want to let me know that you guys, that's all good now. So if you do want to go over there and play, that'll all be good, taken care of in case you did see something like that. We're going to hop over to the Vegas dashboard today. And you can see, again, Vegas, game at 7, 7:30, and 8, so you'll have some time to make some late swaps if you'd like. And again, over-under is what we want to filter this by. We want to see which ones are the highest games on the day. An insane 237.5 total in this Pelicans and OKC game, right? And that's where probably the best plays are on the slate in terms of paying up. Then you have Atlanta and New York, which any team playing Atlanta in terms of pace and just absolutely dreadful defense at pretty much every position, you're going to have advantages for the Knicks. There's a lot to take advantage of. There's a lot of players, though, for the Knicks. It's hard to throw a dart and see who gets there, especially in tournaments. Orlando and Charlotte, not a lot of plays I'm really interested in this game. As the spread indicates, or as the total indicates, and as we will soon see, the pace indicates not a lot here, but we will go over some of them. And right now, we're just going to quickly move on into the target offense, where we'll still be able to have the totals on the screen. So target offense here, what you're seeing on this page as usual, but if you're new here, you're going to get the team pace, which is right here, and then you're going to get the projected pace for this game itself. So what you're getting at a projected pace is just, it's taking into the average of the league, taking into account both of these teams' paces and how that gets bumped up or down depending on how fast these teams play. Pace indicates possessions per game. The more possessions, the more opportunities for fantasy points. Whenever that correlates with the total, which you see a very high pace here of 108.04 because we have two top 6 teams playing each other. We saw the other night Atlanta and the Lakers play each other with 109 pace, right? 2 top 5 teams in that point. And a lot of points were scored. We can expect that tonight. These numbers right here are just fantasy points allowed over the last 30 days to a specific position by a specific team. It'll show you, just indicate how a team is trending over the past month. I think it's a very nice sample size. Soon I'll be doing a year as well once we get further into the season, which is pretty much where we are now. So maybe I'll start transitioning this. But I think a month's going to account more so for trade deadline news and things like that a little bit quicker than the season data would. So I think this is a very good page. Again, only 6 games today. What I want to talk about, and I'm going to get into it when I go over my early interests, is just overall strategy on a 3-game slate. And I'll start that by getting on the guard page here. So early interests, and again, I'm probably not going to play most of these players because a lot of them are just complete dust. It's just a fact that a lot of them are cheap. Early interests for the guard position, you can see here, Dennis Smith Jr. might be my favorite play on the slate. Yes, he's coming off a back-to-back, but he's going up against the worst defense in terms of defending the Portland position, and just the worst defense in general. Very high pace spot here, decent total. 6,500 is the main thing, right? All the other spots that are good and are in good positions, you got to pay about 8,000 or more in these games. 6,500, I feel like Dennis Smith Jr. is going to be the highest owned player on the slate, or at least he should be. We'll go to Russ Westbrook, 11-6. You have to have interest in him on a 3-game slate. It's tough to not want to play him, especially when there's a lot of value. I believe we spelled this man's name wrong unless it just looks wild. Damian, we'll just leave it. Damian Dotson, $3,600. So this is where it starts to get murky. You have all these Knicks players in great matchups. Dotson might start at the 2, should start at the 2. But you also have Alonzo Trier. You also have Kadeem Allen. All these guys who are going to be getting time at the guard spot, and they're all going to have a great matchup, and they're all dirt cheap, all around the same price range in the low to mid 3,000. Well, where do you go? And honestly, I don't know where you go. I mean, Damian Dotson as a starter, I'd feel more comfortable about than guys off the bench. I think Trier, based on his last game, going for 30 DK points, 27 minutes, will draw more attraction in tournaments. So in terms of tournaments, I probably go off of Trier more so towards Dotson if we're going to go for a guard. Kadeem Allen's also in play, but I feel more confident about the guys starting in Dotson and probably lower ownership than Trier. That's in tournaments. In cash, I probably still stick with Dotson. I just like playing starters in cash, guys that I'll know will be more solidified in terms of minutes. Kevin Huerter, $4,900. He has a great matchup at the shooting guard position today against these Knicks. Whoever's out there, he'll have a superior matchup too. We've seen him go off the ball a little bit more than usual. So yes, he's a shooting guard, but he is fine driving. We've seen him getting into the paint a little bit more. I don't like playing shooting guards and pure shooting guards. It's nice to see that he's not remaining just a guy like Klay Thompson or JJ Redick just shooting, not getting any other peripherals. So you can see a lot of these guards are just absolute dust, right? But they're cheap. That's the thing. Etuan Moore going to be starting at the shooting guard position today in that high total, fast-paced game. 28 minutes or 28 against the defense, defense against in the last 30 days. If we can project this guy for 25 to 30 minutes at 3,900, he's a great play in my opinion in this matchup to get pieces of this game. Evan Fournier, I never like playing him. He's going to get 30-plus minutes. He could get you 20 points. He could get you 35 points. He has a wide range of outcomes. Not that consistent. Consistent in terms of minutes, though. 5,500, he's in play. Good matchup. Deontay Burton, I'm probably not going to go here. I just think there's better options where you're going to get more of a bigger sample size, like a Damian Dotson, like an Etuan Moore, in terms of bigger sample size of what these guys are going to do with their minutes. Burton came out last game with 26 minutes, and these same guys are out, but it could very easily be Ferguson today and Felton, or just Ferguson taking over a bigger part of that load. And even if he is playing 26 minutes, even in this high total game, he's what, the 4th to 5th option on this team, when the first 2 options are going to suck up 30+% of the usage in George and Westbrook. Right, for me right now, I'm not interested. We talked about here Kemba Walker. I'm not really interested in this game in general, but Walker does have a great matchup with Cody Zeller back, as the industry is now very well aware of. It's better with the pick and roll for Kemba Walker. Things of that nature. Again, $9,200, I think there might be better options, especially if we're trying to pay up. But if you're going tournament-wise, I think Kemba should be lower owned than most just because he's playing in a worse spot. He should be lower owned, but if you want leverage, that's a spot to look and target. We're going to go to the forward position now. I just want to shout out real quick, if you guys are still watching this and you're new here, or if you're returning on YouTube, please hit that like button. Again, it helps me so much move up the search rankings. And also, hit the subscribe button. We're trying to get to 3,000 subscribers, hopefully by the end of the week. We're about 300 away. It would greatly help me. I want to quickly shout out Draft Dashboard. Draft Dashboard I use for my research. It reduces my research. You can try it 30 days for $1, so it's a promo right now in the description down below. What I like to use it for is just finding my usage rates quick for my sheets, my minutes projections, or just minutes. They also have just ownership projections come out later in the day, value, their own projections. You can see their NBA cheat sheet if you just want to see guys in good positions, or however their writers think about that. Top players of the day, I mean, browse teams is nice in terms of depth charts and just seeing what's happening with injuries-wise, building your injury spreadsheets quicker. I use it for my research purposes. You could also optimize and things like that. Haven't used it too much for that. But in terms of research, it's pretty good. 30 days for $1. You could try it out down below. Really no long-term commitment needed. I do recommend it in terms of reducing your research time for sure. So back to the forwards. So Kevin Knox, I like. I mean, all these guys on the Knicks are in play for me, or majority of them, especially Dennis Smith Jr., because we know he's going to be getting a ton of usage and time at the point. Kevin Knox, I like at 4,900, still has a good matchup. He's going to take 15 to 20 shots. He's just absolutely dreadful in terms of field goal percentage. If he can just get that right one time, this would be that matchup, soft matchup for him. I do like him, and you can see there's just tons of value on this slate. So many guys in the 4 to 3K range where I feel good about, or at least good in terms of putting them in a cash lineup to get up. Paul George, 10-7. I think I like him more than Westbrook. A little bit of savings, a little bit of a better matchup, if you can believe it. I do like Paul George in this game, on this slate, 3-game slate. You have to go after this OKC game, this Pelicans game. It's hard not to get there just based on what these other games in this slate look like, especially the Charlotte game in Orlando. Pretty easy to get away from that. And just what these players are going to be doing in this game. Anthony Davis. So here we go. Draftkings Valentine's Day. They're trying to get us to fall in love with Anthony Davis at $9,000. His price has come down over $2,000 in basically 2 games. Last game out, his team got blown out in the first quarter. Didn't look like he was putting any effort in. Only scored 3 points in 24 minutes. It's worrisome. But he's $9,000. And if he's going to get 24 minutes again, I highly doubt, unless he's just completely packing it in, which seems pretty bad for your image in general. I highly doubt he sees that type of usage again, only scores 16 points. $9,000, there's much less risk around these minutes that you're going to get out of him. If he only plays 24 minutes again, it's still risky. $9,000 you can get there. If he plays 30 minutes at $9,000, there's a great chance AD's going for 50 plus, especially in this matchup. Again, super high pace, 108 pace, 108 possessions per team. 237 over under. Probably not going to start the 5 again. We'll see Okafor there, which hurts. But again, $9,000, it's tough for me to get off of that right now, especially when we have so much value to be able to get up and pair Anthony Davis with another Westbrook or Paul George. And just the upside there is phenomenal. Anthony Davis is shaky, but the price has now made him to a point where it's digestible for me. We'll have to see closer to lock if we get any more news. Prince, 4,700, just a great play in terms of what he can do consistently with his minutes in cash at that price. I do like it. Aaron Gordon, another guy that I continue to play. I'm getting more comfortable with him in cash depending on the spot. Great matchup today. As you can see, dead last are the Hornets in terms of defending the power forward position. Marvin Williams isn't stopping Aaron Gordon today. I like it a lot at 6,600. Price only comes up $200. He's still probably a little bit underpriced, probably more of a 7K type player. Julius Randle, 7,200, should be very low owned in terms of tournaments. Not sure I want to go to him, especially because he's coming off the bench, most likely in terms of cash. But in tournaments, he should be under owned. 7,200 might be a little bit expensive for him since he is coming off the bench. But this matchup bodes very well for him. Marvin Williams, 4,600. I don't really have much love for Marvin Williams. Again, I just put him on here because he is consistent in terms of cash. Doesn't have the greatest ceiling, but at 4,600, another play who's in play. Noah Vonleh is very interesting, and I should put some dots by Noah Vonleh's name because I'm not very interested in playing Noah Vonleh, but we already talked about this Knicks team. If Vonleh gets to start at the 4 over Mario, Hezonja, or whoever they're going to put, his minutes have come down a lot. A lot of the guys in this team's minutes have come down a lot, and they're trying to get a look at some of these younger guys. So Noah Vonleh, his minutes have come down a very good amount, but $4,000, the guy who has a 50-point ceiling, if he could see 25-plus minutes, it's definitely in play in tournaments. In cash, you don't want to touch this. Minutes are all over the place. You never know. But in tournaments where it's very hard to differentiate on a small slate, this is a very nice spot for Noah Vonleh, if he can get the start, of course, and the minutes. So small game strategy we'll talk to as I go over to the center position. I do have a PDF down below in the YouTube description. You guys, you could reach out to me on Twitch. I can send you the link afterwards. Just remind me after we do the recording for that PDF on just strategy on how to be contrarian. And there's a whole section on small game slates. Small game slates, there's going to be high ownership. And a lot of the times you should eat that chalk. If we can project ownership to a point where it's just unreasonably high, so say 80 to 90% on a 3-game slate, and you're going to see that type of ownership, there's merit in tournaments, never in cash. Cash, you should be going with that chalk because you're going to be too overexposed if you don't, right? If that chalk hits like it should, you're going to be screwed. In tournaments, if that chalk doesn't hit like it should and the unexpected happens, or like people think it should, and the unexpected happens, you're automatically setting yourself apart. If it's 80 to 90% players being owned, you're now in the top 20% at least in terms of having a real shot at taking this thing down because you didn't play the chalk that failed. That could be Anthony Davis today. That could be Dennis Smith Jr. today, right? Whoever it might be. Now, obviously, we're not rooting for injuries or anything like that, but that's always in question. And when there's that much leverage on a guy, there's always merit to fading him because he can bust, like Anthony Davis did the other night. It's easier at his price, though, and there's a lot more taken into it. But if you're playing tournaments and you're trying to win a big tournament, you're probably not going to be, you're not going to be in any, look, if there's 100,000 people in a tournament, let's just do it this way, or let's just say 100 people in a tournament for easy numbers, and 80% of them are owning Dennis Smith Jr. today. I'm just making this up. I have no idea what the ownership looks like. If Dennis Smith Jr. goes for if he goes for 80 Draftkings points, you're not winning that tournament. You're not automatically cashing, right? Or automatically winning that tournament, or even cashing, because 80% of the field has him. So you're now beating 20 people, but out of the 100 people, there's still 80 left who have him, and you still have to compete. So you don't get any leverage on him. That's what that means. Now, if he busts and he doesn't do great at all, or he gets in foul trouble, or whatever might happen, and he scores 19 fantasy points and you don't need him at all, and you don't play him in at least one of your lineups in a tournament, now you're in the top 20%. You have a real shot at winning the whole thing, and you're probably automatically cashing as long as the rest of your plays do somewhat decent because your leverage over the field is insane. Now, that's what the whole idea of being contrarian is. It doesn't mean you're not playing Dennis Smith Jr. and you're going to play a bum. It means you're not playing Dennis Smith Jr. and you're going to play somebody else who's a good player, just not getting as much attention because Dennis Smith Jr. is in a better spot. Now, in cash, you should play him because he's in a better spot, and you don't have to beat 90% of the field or 99% of the field to win it all. You need to beat 50% of the field in cash to win it all. So you don't have to be that risky or take that sort of risk. It's actually not optimal to. So that's the whole idea behind that. Hope that makes sense for all of you guys. Yeah. We're going to get over to the center position. Ask me any more questions throughout the day. I'll be back on at 6 p.m. As well. So center position, Steven Adams, I love. He only had 1 rebound last game. That's, man's had 1 rebound, right? 1 rebound. I don't see that happening again. Paul George and Russ getting their double-double or triple-doubles each. Maybe Steven Adams was letting them do it. It just seems very unlikely. Very good matchup, 6,200. The man is now priced at pretty much what his average is in terms of like 32 DraftKings points. He's a very good value today on a slate where there's not much at center. We can go to the most expensive guy, Vooch. I think he's too expensive. In terms of tournaments, I think you can get some nice leverage on him, but then you're giving up on probably one of Anthony Davis, Paul George, or Russell Westbrook if you're trying to play Vooch. I don't think I want to give up on any of those guys because I think they have a bigger ceiling. And in terms of Anthony Davis, or just a better chance to hit value. And in terms of Anthony Davis, he's $1,000 cheaper, so I think he has a better chance to hit value. But tournaments, he's decent leverage probably today. Vooch should be very under-owned compared to some of those other pay-up options. 5,900 for Jordan, and we'll talk about Mitchell Robinson. Jordan's minutes have been going down, and we can slide over to this, a draft dashboard. You get another little shout out there. It's correlating exactly with what we're seeing from Mitchell Robinson's minutes going up. So Jordan's minutes have gone pretty much, where's minutes? 29, 26. So they've gone down each of the past 4 games. 29, 26, 20, 24, and 20, right? Yes, this one was a blowout, so you can chalk it up to that maybe. But they've gone down every single game, which is concerning. You want to go over to Robinson, who just went bonkers last game. Now he gets a very good matchup against Atlanta. 15, 22, 24, 28. Again, 4-game sample, it's small, but this is pretty nicely correlated because, again, Robinson's the backup center, so whatever Jordan's not getting, Robinson is. And you can see his minutes are coming up. His game and his consistency pretty much over the last, I don't know, week or two has been great, especially at the price of 4,100. I do like Robinson a very fair amount over Jordan for sure in terms of just price and the upside here. Again, this is a situation where this whole Knicks team is murky. Every single position outside of the point for Dennis Smith Jr. is murky. Maybe even Kevin Knox at small forward you feel confident about. But in terms of shooting guard, power forward with Vonleh or Hazonia, center with Robinson and Jordan, who I think Robinson's a better play based on price, based on what we've seen as of late in terms of minutes. It's tough to pinpoint where you're going with these Knicks. I really can't. I mean, I like Dennis Smith Jr., probably Kevin Knox. And then if I had to say, Damian Dotson and Mitchell Robinson, probably in that exact order, but not positive. Cody Zeller, 4,800, brutal matchup today against Vooch, but Biyombo's out. Zeller had about 35 minutes last game. He should be getting a little bit more. Any hopes of him not starting pretty much went away, or any thoughts, because Biyombo's out. Tough matchup though. 4,800. I'd probably rather save 700 and go down to Robinson. Is Robinson power forward eligible as well? No, he's not. So that would have been great. I think he was at one point. Always like to get those power forward eligible guys to get more centers in the lineup. Robinson, again, a guy who's not going to start, which scares me. I don't like playing guys who come off the bench in cash, but his price of 4,100 might be viable for me to do that. We'll have to see. So that's it. 3-game quick slate. I will be back tonight, gang, and we will be live on Twitch. YouTube, we will be live on Twitch. You have to go down below in the description. Just click Twitch, click follow so you can come, you can interact, ask me any questions you have. I've been getting a lot of questions on Twitter, which is completely fine. But the whole point of this live stream now is to kind of hone in on all those questions while we're live together. It'll be the first one before lock, so the 3-game slate will help. I'll be able to get my lineups in if I decide to play, be able to get the information out to you, answer your questions. We'll be on and off, go do some things with the girlfriend for Valentine's Day. So I'll see you tonight at 6, YouTube. Make sure you go down below. You hit that up on Twitch. If you watch this whole video, again, maybe shorter than usual because of smaller slate, please hit the like button. Please hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Comment down below that you watched the whole video. Again, I want to thank you personally. We have some people watching these whole videos. Once we get to 3,000 subs, I'm going to be doing some giveaways. So I appreciate it if we can get there. Thank you guys so much. Best of luck today if you're not going to be tuning in later on Twitch. My name's Sal. Peace, YouTube.